Hello and welcome to this new form of video making that I'm going to try today, ranking. Today I'm going to review Doom 1, 2, and 3 along with Quake, because it might as well just be a medieval Doom game. I'm going to go from worst to best and talk about each game for about 5 to 10 minutes each. I'll also put up some background gameplay to make it a little more interesting. Please enjoy. At the bottom of the list is Doom 3. I don't like saying I hate games, but this is one that I can say I did not like, at the very least. Doom 3 is... For Doom 3, they took a completely new direction with the game. They added jump scares and a flashlight mechanic, and some of the only ways you can heal is at those stations that you just saw. A little healing station that has limited healing. And you have to look into your PDA to see where your next objective is. You even have to listen to voice logs to figure out codes. But there's no text to read so that you can figure out what you're supposed to do. You can't read it to figure out the passcode to something. And that's one of the most annoying things to me, is having to listen to PDA voice lines for half of the time I've played this game, and it annoyed me. Okay, now I should probably get into more detail with everything, because I needed to stretch this until 5 minutes. So I'll start with the horror aspect. This game, they went with a whole nother way to make the game. Instead of being a game where you're running around killing everything, feeling badass, you're a guy skulking around with a flashlight on his shoulder that's very awkwardly angled and walking around with a gun, and half the time you're worried about how much ammo you have. In Doom, I ran out of ammo, better pull out my pistol. In this one, it's you can run out of ammo in your pistol. Now I know you can in the rest of the Doom games, but that never happens, honestly, because you'll always at least find more shotgun shells. But in this game, I know that it's supposed to be survival horror and manage your ammo and be safe and sure that you're not gonna die, but every time you miss, you just feel like you're dead, because you need that ammo, because there's some big enemies that are going to require a lot of shooting at. Now, I'm going to avoid spoilers in this, so that's why I've made sure that to lower some of the audio. But it just annoys me how they can just go, oh yeah, this game series that for murdering everything and having fun with it. No, now you can run around trying to find items and dealing with jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. They did that along with the horror aspect. They made combat way more challenging. In the original Doom games, there was no reloading. Now I know that in the other Doom games there's an animation of putting shotgun shells in or whatever, but in this game it's I got 8 shells, and while you're doing that you can't stop and shoot. At least not that I could figure out. You couldn't just stop and shoot. You had to continue shooting. And a couple times there's parts where you have to jump through glass, but you don't know it's broken because nothing jumps through it. So you're just lost to figure out what the frick to do until you figure out, oh, there's a window I can jump through. That's weird. And it just annoys me. Now, there are some good parts of this game, if I didn't know it was a Doom game, I would say this is a pretty good Fear remake, or Fear-esque game. Because that's what it felt like, honestly. Except for all the demons running around, it felt like a Fear clone. And I don't particularly love Fear, because those games weren't really horror games either. And the weird visual things they do all the times never scare me. they just make me mad, because like there, it was so hard to attack the thing because it was just, oh, let's make your screen red and make you angry. Okay, I need to finish yelling about the one aspect and talk about the other things. There is a lot of times where I've thought that the game was prop hunt, basically. It's always, like, freaked me out a little bit that, like, sometimes stuff will get thrown at you and you're like, huh? And then you're, like, shooting at it and then you're like, oh, it's not a prop. Okay, got it. And there's also parts in this game where they will just throw enemy after enemy after enemy at you, which gets really annoying in some of the later levels, because you don't want that. You don't, when you have, like, you have to reload and it takes time to switch to your next weapons. And here's a thing I forgot to say about the reloading. You can't switch weapons while you're doing it. Like, if you accidentally click the reload button, you have to sit through the entire animation while, like, 5 creatures are attacking you. Along with that, everything is trying to attack you. But a few times, there are some humans that you can save, but later on, they'll just end up turning. So it's not like, oh, you saved this person, and now you're their hero, and later on they're gonna help you. No, at least from what I've seen, when you save someone, that just means a demon that you're gonna have to fight, like, 2 minutes later. And sometimes they turn into the big ones, and it's freaking annoying because you're like, oh, I'm gonna be a hero real quick. Oh no, my spleen. Okay, you guys are probably gonna hate me for this, but I think that Doom 1 is a little overrated. Because everyone's like, oh, it's the first game, so you gotta love it, and no, you don't. No. I believe that just because it's the first game, it should still be treated like a normal game. Like as if it's the 4th game, or the 2nd game. To me, it doesn't matter. I treated all of these games like they were a sequel and not the original. And I don't like this one as much as some of the others, because it's just kind of bland. That's really one of my only complaints about this one, is it's kind of bland. Because, like, you run around and you're killing everything, and you have, like, a really low chance of dying. But the few times that I do die in this game are because I fall into a freaking pit and I can't get out because they don't put any exits, which then leads to an immediate death, and I'm just pissed off on my next run. Now, I have found most secrets. I've 100%ed most levels in this game. I'm just showing beginning stuff because I don't want to spoiler some stuff. But I feel like they added too much, or they didn't add that much with this, because near the end of it, it just kind of feels like some repeats, or some repeating stuff, like some puzzles are kind of the same, and you use the same, as soon as you find a weapon that you really are good with and like, you're not going to stop using it. Like the shotgun in like all of the Doom games, especially Doom 2, are overpowered as hell, and you can just blaze through the demon horde with the shotgun, which doesn't really give a need to use anything else unless it's a bigger enemy, or if you run out of shotgun ammo, which for me happens not that often at all. Most of the time when I'm playing this game, I just feel like I could be playing something else, which I hate saying because it's Doom 1, which again is kind of blasphemous to say, oh, Doom 1 is overrated. But it kind of is, because everyone's like, dude, it's Doom 1, how can you hate it? And I do, because, again, if I fall in a pit, I die instantly, and everything. It's either murder everything and win, or murder everything and then fucking die, which can piss you off really quickly. And I was playing the game a few times, and like it doesn't have an autosave system, at least that I could find, so I had to constantly repeat, which pissed me off sometimes because it's like, oh, I fell in a pit, or like, yeah, I fell in a pit and then I tried to reset and then I was like, oh no, I accidentally clicked this save and now I'm fucking stuck here. And this game just annoys me, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if like some of you are like really love this game and we're just waiting to see my reaction. But I believe it's it's overrated, easy, and the few times that it's hard, it's just because I fell in an acid pit. What to say about Quake? Quake came right after Doom 1 came out, and a little before Doom 2, made by the same makers, ID Software. And I would say it's kind of a harder version of Doom, but you can look up and down, which is why it's so high up, kinda, because I kinda like having to actually aim. That, and I like that like medieval styled areas in games, and the puzzles in this game are very sometimes very intense but very interesting, and I love it a lot. But there are some short sides, and the reason that it's not number one. The reason it's not number one is because of the giant difficulty spike. About halfway through episode 1, there is a giant difficulty spike that kind of ruined it for me, because I would be playing it and like everything would go wrong and I would just kind of lose it. It took me about the first episode, which isn't supposed to take you that long, took me at least 4 hours. And I hate that. Because it was like after I got past the first part of the difficulty spike, everything got better. But it just kind of fell out with me. But I am putting it number 2 because I feel like they knew what they were going for. I'm just not good enough at the game to see it. This game does have a this game, instead of having a minigun, has a Gatling gun, which shoots nails. So it's kind of just a extremely fast nail gun, and they of course brought the super shotgun back, which I really like. But yeah, they have the super shotgun, the normal shotgun, but the normal shotgun's kind of more just like the pistol than anything. Because, you know, straightforward shots, not that much damage. It's interesting. But I like it, and I hope when you guys play this game, if you do play this game, you guys do too. At the very top of the list, we got Doom 2. Now, I'm all for the underdog. Everyone is, I think, at least I think. And this one is definitely the underdog. Now, people have called this game a map catalog, and they just put a bunch of maps together and called it a game. I don't think that. There are some pretty decent ideas in this game. Like this is the first iteration. This game has the first iteration of the super shotgun, which if any of you know your Doom, you know the super shotgun is like the best thing since sliced bread. Do not slice bread. Even though that saying is horrible for me, but I'm gonna say it because it is that good. I really love this thing, and I have used it the entire game. But that is also one of the downsides. I never found a reason to use anything else, because this thing could kill almost anything in like 3 or 4 shots, if that. And it's just made it grab as much shotgun ammo as possible and kill everything. Now, I do somewhat have to agree with some things people have said, like it is kind of just a catalog of maps. Do kind of agree with that. And there is a giant difficulty spike, which was the reason I didn't like Quake. But once again, it's kind of the underdog, and it's a Doom game. You can't really fault it for being a little harder. But Quake, it just, I don't know why, it just felt like more of a steep build than with this one. I don't know. But it's very interesting, to say the least. All the things that people have said about this game. I really like it, as obvious, but I like all of the new enemies they introduced in this one, which don't have a comeback until Doom Eternal. Like the giant turret monster abomination thing that has like 2 giant turrets embedded inside of it. That thing's freaking awesome. And the only time you see it again is in Eternal. Which, in my opinion, I didn't really like Eternal. It was kind of bad. But that's my opinion. Just like all of this. I really like the level design in this one too. It may be a map collection, but they took some of the good maps, except for everything past episode 1. Everything past episode 1 I didn't really like. Past like the UAC laboratory, it just kind of got bland. But besides that, it's a pretty good game. Please give it a try.